Hey guys, I'm back. I love giving y'all knowledge. It definitely makes me feel good. And y'all do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to my channel so therefore y'all can keep my momentum going because I'm going to keep bringing y'all as much information as I can because it gives me joy. So today's topic is about credit. And I'm going to make this very, very basic in this video. There will be other videos that will go definitely more in depth in credit, but I want to basically kind of explain to you guys, I'm going to explain to you the basic foundation of credit. And I like to say credit is like school. Everybody understands school. You go for whatever the required time is, and while you're there, it's very, very important that you're on time, you're prompt, you complete your assignments as they come due so you can receive the best grade. But if you go to school and you don't do your work, then you're not going to get a good grade. And everybody can like you and everybody can think you're great. But if you're not completing the requirements of that class, then you're going to fail. And I like to say that credit's the same way. And y'all, this is Charlemagne's rule. So Charlemagne's rule has definitely got thousands of families into homes. So if you disagree, that's okay. Let me know. But it's working for me and the families that I have been able to serve. And I love it. So, like I said, credit is like school, and it's exactly the same premise. You must have credit, okay? So, just like school, you have to go so you can receive your higher education. With credit, you have to have a credit card so you can receive that higher score. Just that simple. So, with your credit, if you have that credit card or that installment account and you're not completing your assignment, meaning you're not paying your bill on time, then you will not be able to achieve a higher score. Matter of fact, you'll receive a failing grade. So that being said, how much credit do you have to have, right? Kind of like the school, like how many classes do you need to take? Do you need a full load? And really with credit, I like to say that the perfect breakdown is going to be one installment and two credit cards. And I'm going to break this down for you. And some of the things I'm about to say to you are going to probably seem kind of contradictory, and that's okay, but it does work. So installment account can be a car loan or maybe a, like a vacation club account you have. Installment means that you have opened a line of credit that is on a set payment plan until you pay it off, okay? That's how I'm going to explain installment to you. And I like to say that you need to have at least one installment account. Now, student loans also count, but if your student loans are in a dormant phase, and what I mean by dormant, you're not making any payments, so that means that you could be in forbearance, a deferment, an IVR, an IDR. There's several different programs out there, right? A lot of people are just right now with the pandemic, everything's been on hold. Those do not count. Even though those accounts are installment accounts, those accounts are not going to improve your credit score because when it's dormant, there's nothing to grade, okay? And so if there's nothing to grade, that means that you're not going to receive that higher score because of it. So I really don't include student loans when I'm talking about those three trade lines that you need to have because most of the time, I shouldn't say most of the time, some people are paying back their student loans. And if you are, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know you paid yours off. High five to you. But the majority, unfortunately, are in some type of repayment plan. And that plan may be where there's no payment required. So now let's talk about credit cards. I'm going to say something else contradictory. So with credit cards, I like to tell people that they need to have at least two. And your credit cards need to be treated like a savings account. And reason being is that how the algorithm, that's my first time saying that word in this video, how the algorithms are set up as far as scoring and creating that higher score for you is the less that you use the card, meaning the least amount or the less amount that you have on that card or running means that you really know how to manage your funds. When you max out a credit card or take it over 30%, is actually looked at negatively. And so if a person is actually trying to build and improve their credit, oftentimes I would suggest them to get two secured credit cards And on those 2 secured credit cards, I actually have them go to 2 entities that do not pull your credit, but they do report to all 3 bureaus. And I know you're scratching your head like, how does somebody not pull my credit and report to all 3 bureaus? So again, in this video, I'm going to keep things very, very basic. There will be a part 2, and I'll definitely elaborate more on it. But I'm going to talk real quickly about these credit cards and not having an inquiry. So when you're building your credit or trying to gain credit, you're told inquiries are very, very bad. So that's why these 2 credit cards that I'm going to share with you, I tell people to get, because it's not an inquiry, but it's a positive trade line that will pop up on your credit. And the requirements of these 2 secured credit cards, first and foremost, you got to have the funds, right? The operative word, secured. So if you don't have the funds, you're not going to be able to get the secured credit card. Secondly, you do have to have a bank account, and that bank account must have a checking account. So what happens is that when you apply for that secured credit card with the entities that I'm going to share with you shortly, they will basically make a deposit of like a penny, and you verify that deposit, and then they will actually deduct the amount that you're going to use on that secured credit card from your account and mail you that card. I always suggest that people open up a card minimally with a $300 credit limit minimally. Of course, the more you do, the better. But again, if we're trying to maximize your potential, meaning your score potential, then we definitely want to have at least 2 credit cards. So when you receive those credit cards, you only want to charge $35 on that credit card, because again, like I said earlier, the credit cards have to be treated like a savings account. And by you only charging $35 on the credit card, again, you're going against that algorithm that's been set, and you're going to receive extra points. Typically, and again, this is Charlamagne's rule, people will see with 2 secure credit cards, the ones I'm going to share with you shortly, they'll see anywhere from a 20 to a 40-point increase pretty much right out the gate. Of course, it varies if there's other factors that are there, and I'm going to discuss that later when we get to chapter part 2, part 3. But what I'm talking about here, when I'm talking about your score and how many accounts you need to have, I'm talking about your FICO score. And you as a consumer, when you're trying to figure out if you can qualify for a home, you may ask somebody, hey, what score do I have to have? And you're looking at your consumer score. And I want to go ahead and set the record straight right here and now. Mortgages are given based off of your FICO score, not your consumer score. And a lot of people get that confused. And then even though some people say, okay, well, I get it, I understand it, but why are the 2 different? And what I like to explain, again, this is Charlamagne's rule, is that your consumer score is a very generic algorithm, and it's not focused or geared towards one type of credit line. So it's going to take all of your credit, and it's going to give you a blended score, so to speak. And that blended score is going to include everything. And that's not what's going to be, or that's not the algorithm used for your FICO score. Your FICO score is very heavily dependent upon the amount of credit you have, how well you used it, how well you repaid it. And I even have had people who've had a consumer score that was very low. Like, I'm going to give you tell you about a story. I had a woman call me, and she said she had 7 credit cards that she was paying on time, and that her consumer score was 500. And I asked her, I said, well, are you late on your credit cards? And she's like, no, I've never been late. Okay, so are you maxed out on your credit cards? Yes, I am. I said, do you have any collections? She goes, no, I don't have any collections. So I said, well, let me go ahead and pull it. She goes, no, I know my score is not going to be high enough. And I told her, I said, you know what? From what you just described to me, your score will be high enough. So when I pulled her credit, her score was actually over a 600. And that's because that she had always paid her credit cards on time, even though they were maxed out. And so if she were to pay those credit cards down, she would have had an even higher FICO score, and she would obviously had a higher consumer score. So the only place to get a FICO score from is going to be from a financial institution like myself. So let me go ahead and introduce myself if you don't already know who I am. I'm Charlamagne Armstrong, and I'm the District Vice President of Gold Financial Services. And I always tell everyone every day to make sure that they kisswealthnow.com. That is my website, and my phone number is 214-738-4913. And how can I talk to y'all about all of this? I've been in the business over 27 years, so I have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge that I definitely am going to share with all of you, my viewers. So again, like, subscribe, and share. Okay, so let me get back to the credit. So with your credit, again, mortgages are based off of a FICO score, and you actually have to have a hard inquiry to get your FICO score. And a lot of people will call me and they say, well, I don't want to have a hard inquiry. Well, there's no way around it if you're going to get a mortgage. But I'm going to share a really, really fun fact with you guys. And again, y'all need to remember this and share it. Only a third of the population can buy a house and absolutely pay cash for it. That means that the majority actually have to go ahead and get a mortgage. That's why I'm in business. So that being said, the algorithm for an inquiry for a mortgage is definitely not going to drop your score. But your consumer score, what you see on your side, when a mortgage company pulls your credit, you're going to see a drop in your consumer score. And that is because your consumer score is a generic algorithm, again, not based on any one type of account that you're going to be trying to acquire. Whereas a FICO score, that is used for a mortgage. And again, that is not going to drop your FICO score by having a hard inquiry for a mortgage. It just doesn't. I got to drink some of my tea. Sorry for my pause. I'm doing a lot of talking this morning. Got to keep those pipes clear. So, you know, a lot of people they feel like if they have an inquiry, their score is going to drop. And they be, oh, I've worked so hard on my credit and I've not had any inquiries. I don't want one. And again, only a third of the population can buy a house and pay cash. So while it is an inquiry to have your credit pulled by a mortgage company, again, that's a hard inquiry. I'm not trying to sugarcoat that, but it does not take down your FICO score. And mortgages are given based off of your FICO score. Just that easy. So you guys, if you follow Charlamagne's rule and remember that credit is like school, you will definitely improve your credit significantly. And again, that perfect mix is going to be 1 installment and 2 revolving. Now, I've been telling you throughout the video, I'm going to share with you the credit cards. So the first one is OpenSkyCC.com. And that's OpenSkyCreditCard.com, but it's not spelled out, it's just CC. And that is a credit card company that will extend a credit card to you with your secured funds. They do not pull your credit, but they do report to all 3 bureaus, and it definitely does improve your credit score. Like, I should have stock in them. The other credit card is FirstProgress.com. I didn't say First Premier, it's First Progress. First Progress is another company that does not pull your credit, but they do report to all 3 credit bureaus. And again, I need to have stock with them too. They work wonders in improving credit scores. Just wonders. And again, you need to open up those secured credit cards with a minimum of $300 on each card. And if you do have a spouse or, you have a partner, what have you, you can open those accounts jointly, and it will report on both people's credit with that same $300, and you both will receive credit for it. And again, I'm going to talk more about credit and break down joint credit, individual credit, and all that in another video. Right now, I'm definitely just kind of doing the cliff notes and getting us started and understanding just some of the basics of credit. And if you follow Charlamagne's rule to improve your credit, even if you say, I don't want to buy a house this year, I want to buy a house next year, you're going to be more than ready. And the other thing I'm going to tell you about your credit is do not close out a credit card. So meaning that if you have credit cards and you have 5 or 6 and you're working on paying them off and down, do not close them, because if you close your accounts, then you're losing that credit history for however long, especially with your revolving credit. do not close it. But if you have a zero balance, just know that that's going to be considered as a dormant account. And again, credits like school, to receive a grade, it does have to be active. So you would need to be making some type of transactions on that card. Now, I've had people come to me and say, hey, they actually under a contract. They're like, I don't qualify, and my credit scores have dropped, and they made the biggest mistake. Their lender told them, hey, pay down these credit cards so you can qualify. Then their score dropped, and they don't understand what happened. So, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have not said for someone to pay off a credit card in the process, but this very timely when I tell them to do it, meaning that we're not going to affect that score. And I do not do credit repair, okay? But I do help clients rescore their credit. And by doing that, they may provide me documentation to, if they've paid down a credit card, and that's going to give them a score potential. And note, I said pay down, not off. Then I can order a rescore and have that back in 3 to 5 days. So I know I have absolutely said a lot, and I'm glad I was able to say a lot. So to recap, credits like school, you must have 1 installment, 2 credit cards to be able to maximize your score potential. Mortgages are based off of a FICO score, not a consumer score. And do not close any account in your mortgage process because your score will drop. And again, you don't get credit for zeros. So you got to have some activity going on. So if you like what I said so far, make sure you watch out for part 2 because I'm going to definitely dive more into it. Again, you can contact me, Charlamagne Armstrong, at 214-738-4913. You all be blessed, and do not forget to kisswealthnow.com. Bye.